Hi, this is Katie Nelson. I just wanted to show you my workflow with creating slides for a Nearpod lesson. So what I do is once I have a template established, what it is that I want to use repeatedly with my students, consistency is key. Then once I have that established, I just use those same slides, copy and paste, and write over them so that I can start a new problem. So I want to use the same template as before, but I want a new problem, so I'm going to go ahead and type it in. Of course, I could just copy and paste and then use this paintbrush option to make it look like the rest, but I prefer to type it because then I think about it while I am typing it so that I have a better idea of how I want to approach the problem. It makes me think more as the teacher as I'm typing. And so then I will take this and I will copy the next slide. And the next slide shows how I want to set it up in a tape diagram and has suggestions for how I might set it up as a tape diagram or a number bond. Again, I'm providing the scaffold for my students so that they don't have to focus so much on the drawing of the rectangles, but rather the actual understanding of the representation. Yeah, eventually I will want them to be able to draw it on their own, but this isn't really to test their drawing. This is to test their understanding or practice their understanding of the task at hand, of understanding the language, representing the problem, and then solving the problem using the strategy of their choice. And so if I do some of that work for them, they can focus more on those higher level items rather than trying to draw a tape diagram on their computers, especially if they're using a Chromebook. If they're using an iPad, maybe I don't give them as many drawing scaffolds because it's easier to draw with your finger on the screen versus trying to draw with your finger in the trackpad. So I maybe won't give them as many scaffolds that way. So then I just go through the same process as I would before. So I'm going to go in on this slide, I'm going to highlight and underline like the students will in this first step. And then I've already got this copied. Maybe I'll adjust it. Maybe I want to see that, okay, 89 is pretty close to 114, so maybe I want my rectangle to be a little bit bigger for the piece that I do know, to help trigger in the students' minds of recognizing that, hey, 89 is actually pretty close to 114, and so then maybe that will also support them in how they set up the next part of the problem. So I want to go ahead and highlight this before I move on, because then I'll just copy this slide and paste it again, and I will insert the next step of my scaffold, which is to insert the things that we know, the total that we know, or the parts that we know, just like I did in this previous problem. And then once that's set up, then I'll use that to copy and paste to the next one. So all I'm changing right here is this little heading, and then adding the equation that I wanted them to write in the previous step. So again, a lot of copy and paste, a lot of the work's already done. You just add the steps as though you are the student adding the steps anyway. And so establishing a template that is usable for a variety of question styles will be a great first step for you. Of course, you can use my template if you'd like, or you can create one of your own, especially if you have different prompts that you want for the students at the top, or maybe different annotation tools that match things that you're already doing school-wide, for example. All right, so that's part of the workflow of using copy and paste as your friend and adding one slide at a time as though you were doing the next step that you want the students to do. Thanks for watching.